Hello everybody. Welcome or welcome back. We're in the Webflow Designer today, starting where I left off last time. Okay, I'm going to start by dragging in a div block. Put that right underneath the About Me. Okay, I'm going to give this a class of Hire Me. Okay, so I am going to give it a padding of 50 pixels, both on the top and the bottom, and I'll explain how this becomes important as we go on. You'll see it in action in a little while. So I am going to give it a background color. Sorry, going to give it a background color of this nice deep orange, pumpkin-y orange. Okay, now I'm going to set this to display flex. Again, you'll see how this makes a difference later on. Okay, there. Now, if you do want to understand like what Flexbox is, I have a video on that already on my channel. I'll link it in the description. Make sure to check that one out. Okay, here. So, I am going to drag in a heading. Okay, so I'm going to give this heading a class of Hire Me heading. Okay, give it a size of 70 pixels. Montserrat. Make it. Let's keep it at this bold. I'll make it white, and let me just change the text inside here. Hire me. There we go. Okay. Next, I'm gonna drag in another div block. There we go. Gonna give this one a class of Hire Me Plans with an S at the end. This one should have a width of 100% and a height of 90%. Display flex, and again, this will make sense in just a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to drag in another div. There's a lot of divs in this one, a lot of different groupings. So Hire Me Plan without an S this time. This one is going to have, again, display flex, a width of 30% and a height of 100%. I'm going to drag in a subheading. So a heading inside of this div, right? I'm going to call this Hire Me Plan subheading. Okay. As you can see, I already have the font of Montserrat, the weight of 600, and I'm just going to give this a heading 2 because I want to make this just a little bit smaller, right? I'm going to make this bronze. There we go. Sorry, that's not. There we go. Bronze, right? And change the color to a blue. Let me go get the blue. Go. Oh, that's not right. Okay. So right here, I forgot to give this a background of white. That's important. There we go. Okay. So a subheading of bronze. I'm going to bring in a heading again. This will be our main heading. I'm going to call this Hire Me Plan heading. There we go. Okay. Font of Montserrat. I'm going to make it a little bit more bold. There we go. Same thing, $10 an hour, because we are talking about plans here. Gonna give this the same color that I had before. Didn't make this a swatch for some reason. There we go. Okay. And then, okay, I think that's it for our text. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to drag in a list. Where is that? There we go. A list. That should go inside of our Hire Me Plan. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. Okay. So I am going to add stuff to our list items. Just some lorem ipsum, as you can see here. Okay, some lorem ipsum. Same thing in here, same thing in here. Okay. There we go. Going to give each of them a little bit of a margin bottom, maybe like 20 pixels. Should probably give this a class first, right? So hire me list item. There we go. Going to do the same thing for, give this one the same class. So hire me list item. It's right there. And this last one to hire me list item. Okay. There we go. I am going to make all of them open sans. Where is that? Sans. Weight of 600. Make it a little bit more bold. And give this the same color. There we go. I'm probably going to make this size a bit bigger. There we go. Okay. So, going to have this span the entire thing. For our list, we don't want any bullets. We just want check marks, right? So how we do that is we're going to click on the list settings here. We're going to hit no bullets, right? Now these just look like normal paragraphs, right? So how are we going to include the check marks? So just go click on a list item, right? Go down here to the background section, and I'm going to hit add, and I have this background image, right? Now I already have a background image chosen, like this one, but this is on the right. We want it to be on the left, and I already have the dimensions picked out. So 20 pixels for the width and 20 pixels for the height, right? First of all, we don't want it to repeat like this. So at the bottom, we just hit no repeat right there, like that. And this is pretty much how we want it to be, right? Just at the side, except now we just want a little bit of space between the check mark itself and the text, right? So how we do that is we're going to increase the padding. I'm going to make this about 35 pixels. There we go. Now we have our check marks. Now I'm going to make a button. So I'm going to click on the add again. Here's the button. Put this underneath our list. There we go. Okay. So the button has a width of 100%. Going to rename the class again. Sorry, should have done this first. Hire me plan button. Not a width of 100%. We don't want it to span the entire picture. I'm going to give this 80%. The font is again Montserrat, 600. The background color, I don't want it to have a background color, right? I'm going to change the text color to this blue that we picked out earlier. Let's put in the text purchase. Okay. Center this. There we go, centered. I'm going to give this a little bit of a bigger, not that big, maybe just about 20 pixels. Okay, and I want to give it an outline because we want to show that it's a button, right? So I'm going to go to borders right here. Okay, give it that, and okay, I think it's good. Now I want it to be like rounded, right? So I'm just going to increase the border radius here like this. I think I'm still going to make it a little bit smaller, maybe like 70, no, not 5%, yeah, like 50% better. Let's go 65. Okay, and then I'll increase the height a little bit, make it like 50 pixels maybe. Yep. Okay, display flex, vertical, center. There we go. And then I'll increase the border radius because that doesn't look very nice. I'll just make it like 50. There we go. Okay. Now, when I hover on this button, I want it to change a little bit. So here's how we're going to do that. I'm going to click next to the classes right here. We're going to hit the hover state. And we are going to, again, come back to this background area. And I'm going to make it this blue that we had picked out earlier. And I'm just going to change the font color from this blue again to this white. So if I get rid of this now, and if I hover over this, well, we'll set the animations right now, but you can see that it's changing, right? So first thing I want to do is I'm going to scroll down, and I want to, number one, change the cursor, right? I want it to have like the pointer that happens when you're hovering over a button. You can't see it right now, but if I go into preview mode, there we go. Okay, now I'm gonna add the animation though. So transition. So what are we transitioning? We're changing the background color, right? And then we're also changing the text color. Where's that? There we go, font color. Okay. So now if we go into the preview mode and we see, there we go. Okay. I'm going to make another plan because we want to have 3 different plans, right? There we go. And I'm going to give all of these a minimum height, or just the plan in general, the entire plan thing, a minimum height of about 700 pixels, I think. And I'm gonna have these stretch the entire height. 700 pixels. There we go. Because, okay, now here's what I want to do. I want to spread all of these out. I don't want them all squished into the center together. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to click on this plan and I'm going to hit space around. Okay, that's good. That's nice. The last thing I want to do for all of these is bring in a Lottie animation. So here's how we're going to do that. You go to your assets panel, right? Now I already have these assets with me, so I'm just going to drag some of them in. So this conveniently is named bronze metal. So I'm just going to drag this in and put it right here above my my bronze animation. Now I'm going to give this a width of, or max width rather, because I don't want this to be too big, right? I'm going to say max width of 200 pixels. If we go into preview mode, you can see that it does this. Okay, so I'm going to add a bit of padding at the top because I feel like this needs to be more like cramped up against each other, or at least near each other, right? So okay, there. Now I want this okay, now I'm going to bring in the Lotties for all of this. So this is going to be our silver tier. And let me go back, let me bring that in above there. There we go. And what class did I give this? Let me name that. Hire me plan. So, gonna give this the same class instead of repeating the thing again. And then do the same thing for the last one here. Okay, there. I'm going to change the text too, so this is the silver. And then this is the gold. Okay, there. I also want to give this a max width because I feel like when I go into this preview mode, the button just looks way too big. So I'm going to give this a max width of maybe like 200 pixels. Maybe let's do 300. Okay, there we go. What else do I want to fix? Okay, same thing for the plan, I think. I'm gonna give this a max width of 200 pixels, maybe. Yeah, or let's make that. Okay, there we go. I'm also gonna give this plan a border radius, a slight one, because we don't want it to look too jarring, but we also want it to have a border radius. And I'm also going to move this heading, give it a bit more margin. That way there's actually some space. There we go. Okay. What I'm also going to do is give the plan a drop shadow. So here's how we're going to do that, or a box shadow. Okay, so you can experiment with this however much you want, right? I'm going to, let's try this. This is, okay. I'm going to change the angle a little bit. I want it to go this direction. and I'll pick a lighter shade of black there. Kind of want to, right, there you go. Okay, blur it a little bit more. There we go. This is like very subtle, like you can barely notice it. It's there. Okay. Now, the last thing I want to do is, of course, the Lottie animation. Okay, I'm going to go to the interactions panel. I'm going to hit mouse hover, and I'm going to make a new animation. Okay, I'm going to call this Hire the Lottie. Okay, there we go. Okay, so for all of these, as you can see, their default state, what they start out as, is at white, and I don't want them to start off as that. I want the user to be able to see it at its full state. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to hit Lottie instead of like any other kind of thing. I'm going to do this for all the classes. So I'm going to hit class, and then I'm going to make this in this initial state and hit 12%. I've already calculated this. You might have to like scroll through your own animation just to see where it stops. I know that it ends at 12%, or at least like you can see the full visibility of it, so I'm gonna leave it there. Okay, now the actual beginning of our animation starts when I hit, okay, again, I'm gonna hit Lottie, and this time I'll make it an interaction trigger. So I don't want all of them to trigger, I just want the one that I clicked it on. This one, however, I want it to be a class thing. Ah, I see what's happening. Okay, so I'm gonna hit this one. I want it to go back to a 0% when you hover on it, right? And then I want it to take about 2 seconds to go to 85%. Again, I've calculated these, so I know what's coming. I'm gonna set that one to class. Okay, let's just try it and see. Okay, there. So all of them are happening at the same time, which is not what I want to happen. So let's see. Okay, that's good. Perfect. Okay. Now I just have to do the same thing for all of these. So mouse hover. Oh, not that one. Starting animation. Hire me. Okay, same thing for this one. Mouse hover. Start an animation and just select that. Okay. Now I'm gonna hit preview, and there we go. Okay. So here's the problem. Basically what's happening is that in this animation, right, I'm only setting the trigger to be at initial state of 0. So like what the animation, what the element that the animation is being triggered on. So like right now I'm hovering over this element, right? That's why this element has an initial state of 12%, but I want that to happen to all of them, right? Which is why I want to set it to be class, but for some reason it's not working. And I'm trying to figure out why. Okay. Let me set this to go back to interaction trigger. I'm gonna delete this. And okay, now here's the problem that I'm running into, right? I'm gonna select a different element. That way Webflow doesn't think I'm trying to do it for this one itself. Now, if I hit set in its initial state, there we go. Now it should work. I'm gonna hit save, and then I'm going to go into preview mode. Wow, there we go. Perfect. Okay, beautiful. Our buttons work. Okay, now the last thing we want to do is when we hover on the plan element itself, we just want it to go up by a little bit, right? So here's how we're going to do that. We're going to again set at, this one's really easy, so don't, right, I'm going to hit, make the notes higher, we plan hover in, and I'll explain why I added that in at the end in just a moment. Okay, here's what I want to do. Now, when you hover over this, I just want it to move up by a little bit, right? So that's all I'm going to say. So I'm just going to move it up by or move it up. What was I saying? There we go, by like 10. There we go, that's good enough. A very subtle move. So I'm gonna hit save, and I'm just gonna add the same interaction to all of them. So hire me plan hover in, do the same thing here, not that, there we go, hover in. Okay, now when you do that, okay, so do you guys see the problem that we're running into? If you didn't, let me explain it. So when I hover, let me get rid of preview mode and show it again. When I hover and I let go, it just stays there. Like it doesn't go back, right? So how do we do that, right? I'm just gonna add a simple hover out animation. So if you look closely at the bottom, it says on hover out, right? Here I'm gonna make a new animation called hire me plan hover out. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set the move back to 0 pixels. This should do the job. So let's test that out. There we go. I feel like I want to make it a little bit like shorter. Just going to give that a duration of like 1 second, 0.1 second, sorry. Do the same thing for the hover out. Okay. Just going to add that same interaction to this one too. So hover out, same thing here, hover out. Okay, let's try it now. There we go. The buttons work, the lotties work, perfect. Okay, the last thing I want to do is just make the cursor a pointer. So I'm going to hit on the plan, go back to our styles page, and we're going to hit cursor pointer. There we go. That's it, everybody. This is our Hire Me Plans page. We have our lottie animations that are working, a drop shadow, some border radius, a button, a hover animation that moves an element up and down. So yeah, just let me know if you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram. Link in the description. I'll see you guys next time.